Opal Beaters, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com, back with another tutorial today. So this time it is for this slim netted bracelet, and I showed a similar bracelet on a recent video and a lot of you guys asked me to do a tutorial on it, so I'm happy to do that today. I have some of the materials that you'll need laid out. You will need 2 different colors of size 11/0 seed beads. You'll need 1 color of size 15/0 seed beads. You'll need some 4mm bicones, and I will have the counts of all of these down below in the description section, along with links of some examples of where you can purchase these materials. I'm using 2 wire guardians. I'm also using a lobster clasp and 1 jump ring. You will need a beading needle, some beading thread. I love to use the 6-pound Fireline, and you will also need some scissors and pliers. So let's go ahead and jump into it and get started. So the bracelet I'm making today is going to be approximately 7 inches from wire guardian to wire guardian. If you're not familiar with wire guardians, I use them a lot in my beading. They just protect the thread from where the clasp and jump ring might rub against the beads, and it helps to create a stronger piece of jewelry, and you will see how I use them when I make this bracelet. If you don't have wire guardians, you would just make a loop of seed beads, and instead of adding the wire guardian, you would add about 5 more seed beads to your starting loop. So I just wanted to show you the approximate size of the bracelet I'll be making today in case you need to adjust it depending on the size wrist you're trying to fit. Something else to keep in mind is if you are using a larger clasp, that will of course add length to your bracelet. I'm using a pretty small lobster clasp today, so it's not going to add too much length to mine. So just keep those things in mind and adjust accordingly. So there's multiple ways to make beaded netting bracelets. Here's a peek at what the back looks like. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be completing the netting portion, and then we're going to go back and we're going to add the crystal bicones on the top to add that pop of sparkle. So most of the tutorials that I've seen available out there show the netting quite a bit wider. I really wanted to do something that wasn't as wide, so I decided to go with something that is about, I like to call it 2 diamonds wide. And like I said, there's multiple ways to complete something like this, but today I'm just going to show you how I like to do it. So the first thing you want to do is you'll want to thread your needle, obviously. So I have put about 10 to 11 feet of beading thread on my needle. Of course, that sounds like a lot. Something I like to do is I'm going to leave about a 5 or so foot tail on this, and that way I'm going to be completing my netting with the working portion of my thread. Then I will put the needle on my tail thread, if you will, and I will use that 5-foot section to put on all the bicones on the top. That way I don't have to stop and start and knot off my thread and add new thread. Of course you can do that, there's nothing wrong with that. I just prefer not to, and this is a way that seems to work for me. So go ahead and thread your needle and let's get started. Alright, to start off you're going to need to decide what colors you want to use for what. So we have what I'm going to call the main color and what I'm going to call the accent color. The main color is what is going to be the main part of my netting, and the accent color is what's going to be used on these little embellishments on the side, as well as these little points. You can see I have a black, 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 black there, like on the points of these diamonds. That will be the accent color. You'll also want to have your wire guardian ready if you are going to use one, and we are going to start by making a little loop right here. That's where we're going to start, and we're going to be doing the center of the bracelet all the way down. Like I said, there are multiple ways to do this type of bracelet. This is just one way, and this is the way that I prefer to do it and am going to show you today. So let's go ahead and thread on 2 of our main color. Go ahead and pop on a wire guardian. I'm just going to go ahead and slide these down all the way till, like I was saying, I have about a 5-foot tail or so that I'm going to be going back in with to finish up the bracelet. And I'm just going to use my thumb and my forefinger here to hold these here so it's not sliding down that tail. Go back through the wire guardian that way. We're basically going to be making a little loop. And with the wire guardian, you want to make sure that your thread pops right into that little groove there on the top. Let's continue on. You want to pick up 2 more of your main color. Then you're going to pick up an accent color, 2 more of the main color, an accent color, 2 of the main color, and the accent color, and you already have 2 more of the main color there. And you're going to go back through those beads, including the wire guardian. So this is the sequence you should have on your needle, and we're just going to go back through, and it's going to make a little loop. So I'm just going to go all the way through those beads again, just until I get to this accent color right here on the very right hand side. Then we're just going to be making a series of right angle weave loops all the way down the length of our bracelet. And with mine, I know that I want to make a series of 23 little loops to get about 7 inches all said and done. So if you're familiar with bead weaving, this will probably be a piece of cake for you. This is just the basic right angle weave that we're going to be doing all the way down the bracelet. I know that I want to have 23 rows to get the 7 inches that I'm looking for, and you'll just need to adjust here accordingly if you want to make your bracelet shorter or longer. If you're new to bead weaving, you may need to watch it a couple of times just to get the hang of it, but don't get frustrated, don't give up if you can't get it right away. It's not a big deal if you have to start over, it's just beads. So we want to string on 2 of our main color, 1 accent, 2 main color, 1 accent, 2 main color, 1 accent, and 2 more main colors. So you should have this sequence of beads on your needle right here, and then you're going to go through that seed bead that's right on the end, this accent color right here. So just go through it in the opposite direction. Your thread was coming out of this way, you're going to go back in this way, and you're basically just making another little loop. Just like that. Now you want your thread to be coming out of this seed bead all the way on the right, so we need to follow the thread path, follow the beads, and get to that side. So just go through these beads, just follow the thread path just till you get to that bead all the way on the right. There you go. So you're coming out of that bead, which is what you want, and now you're just going to repeat the step that you did before. So 2 main color, an accent, 2 main color, an accent, 2 main color, an accent, and you guessed it, 2 main color. So again, this is the sequence that you want to have on your needle. You're coming out of the seed bead down here at the bottom, so you're going to swing it around to make a loop and go through the opposite side of that seed bead and pull until you have another loop. So we're just doing the center netting of this bracelet at the moment. You're coming out of this seed bead now, just go through the next seed beads that you get to, just until you get to that seed bead on the right, so that you can continue on and make another loop. There you go, pull it nice and tight so everything's together. And obviously this looks pretty misshapen right now. It's all going to shape up as you go, so don't worry about it if it looks a little bit lopsided. It's not a big deal. So let's do another one. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This time we're coming up out of the seed bead, so we want to go through the other side, pull, and then go through these seed beads just until you get to the one that's all the way on the right. Just like that. So continue on with that process until you have the number of loops that you will need to make the size bracelet you want. I will be doing a total of 23. So go ahead, I'm going to speed this up and meet you back when that's done. Alright, so I actually have 22 of my little loops here, including this side, and we're ready to complete the 23rd, and I'm going to be adding on my next wire guardian on this side at this point. So I'm coming out of this accent color seed bead right here. I'm going to go ahead and string on 2 main color, 1 accent, 2 main color, and then the one side of my wire guardian. Then I'm going to loop my needle around and go through the other side of my wire guardian. And then I'm going to add the same sequence just to complete this loop. So I'm going to add 2 main color, 1 accent, and 2 main color. And then we're going to be going through that accent color right there, which is going to complete our little loop. Now, because your thread and your bead are kind of pointing this way, we're just going to go through, and this is just going to serve to reinforce a little bit anyway, but we're going to go through the next little seed bead loop that we get to, just so we can position our needle back on this side so we can start with the other side of our netting, so it'll make sense when we get there. So just go through those next 2 main color, the embellishment, the 2 main color, this little embellishment here, and let me make sure my thread is popped into that little groove before I tighten anything down. There we go. And we're just following the thread path back. So go through all these seed beads one more time. I'm going to loop it around going this way and go through our wire guardian one more time and position ourselves at this top section. So come out of this first embellishment bead that you get to on one of the sides, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be completing the netting going along this side, swinging around and completing the netting on the top side. And as you can see, there is a difference in the size between this and the completed bracelet, and that is because this is going to shrink up as we complete our netting and add the bicones at the top. So be coming out of one of your embellishment beads on the side here, right next to one of your wire guardians or your seed bead loop, right at the end of your bracelet, and let's go ahead and complete our netting. So coming out of that embellishment bead, we want to add 2 main color. And if you are planning to add these little embellishments here on the sides, you want to go ahead and add 4 of the embellishment color seed beads at this point. Go ahead and string those down. And this is where you're going to create that little peak, and that is going to be done by stringing on 4 of the embellishment color and then going back through by swinging your needle around in the opposite direction. Just go back through that very first one. And when you pull that together, bam, it creates that little diamond, and you can slide that down. So slide that all the way down to those 2 seed beads that you just added so that everything's nice and tight. Now pick up 2 of your main color again, and then you're going to be going through this embellishment bead right here to close up this little diamond. Bam. There you go. So we're going to do that again. Pick up 2 of your main color, pick up 4 of your embellishment color. Go ahead and string those all the way down. Go through just that very first embellishment color you just added. Make your little diamond. Use your thumb and your forefinger and slide it down so that it's tight. Then pick up 2 more of your main color and go through this next embellishment bead that you get to on the top. So you're just completing your little diamonds just like that. And that's what you're going to do all the way down. So let me do one more with you. 2 main color, 4 embellishment color, slide them down. Go through just the first embellishment color in the opposite direction. Create your little diamond. Slide it down. Pick up 2 of your main color and go through the next embellishment that you get to complete your diamond. Alright, so you should have something like that so far, and as you go, this is all going to kind of tighten up together. you want to do the same pattern all the way down, and I'll meet you back here and we will start going around on the other side. Alright, so I'm at the end of this side. I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up. I'm going to go through this embellishment bead, but also through the next two of the main color and the one side of my wire guardian, just to finish that up. So you should have something that looks like this, and then we're just going to swing our needle around. I'm going to go around the other side of the wire guardian, through the two seed beads here, and then the embellishment bead on that other side. I'm just going to make sure my thread pops right into place where I want it. And then we are going to be doing the exact same thing all the way around just to complete this netting. So to get started, of course, just 2 of the main color, 4 of the embellishment color. Slide them down, go through the first embellishment color to make our little diamond, pulling it down, 2 more of the main color, and then through the embellishment color that is sitting right up here so we can finish that first diamond. So we are in good shape, and I'm just going to go ahead and complete this entire side, and then we will meet back. Alright everyone, so here's the bracelet with the embellishments done on both sides, and I just finished up my last little diamond on the top, and I'm coming out of this little seed bead right here. So I'm actually going to continue through these 2 main color seed beads and up and over the wire guardian, and I'm going to go ahead and knot and weave my thread back in. This is the working thread portion, of course. And then we are ready to go ahead and add our 4mm crystals on the top of the bracelet, which I think is the most fun part because that's when everything starts to come together. So as you can see, I just did a little half hitch knot there. I'm going to go through a couple more beads and then do another one. I'm just going to go through here and then add another little half hitch knot right in there. Go through a couple more. Go through those. And make one more little knot in here, and you can do as many of those as you want. You can weave the whole thing back in if you want. I'm pretty comfortable with just going through these, and I'm just going to end it here. And I'm going to go ahead and trim off this part of my thread. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I left about a 5-inch tail on this side, so I didn't have to go and add in another piece of thread, which isn't that big of a deal. It's just an extra step that I don't like to take if I don't have to. So this is just a method that I use, but you do whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my needle onto the tail thread, which is now becoming the working thread. And we're coming out of this embellishment bead right here. I'm going to continue on till I get to this bead right here that I'm pointing to, and we are going to start putting on our 4mm crystals in the center section. So that's where we're going to start with our crystals. So I'm just working my thread down to the center right there so that we can start that process. So that's where you want to have your crystal bicones out and your 15-0 seed beads. I'm using the same gold color that I used for the gold in the netting, but you can use whatever color you want to use. Alright, so I worked my way through. I am coming out of one side of this embellishment color bead right here, and I'm going to start by popping in a crystal right in the center of this diamond. So we're just going to go all the way down the center of our bracelet, then we're going to be coming back around and then finishing the other side. So if you're coming out of that bead there, go ahead and put on a 15-0, a crystal, and a 15-0 on your needle. So go ahead and do that, and then go through this other embellishment bead on the opposite side. Now I was going down through this one, I'm going to go up through this one, the opposite direction. And then we're just going to carefully pull it. And it is going to cinch things together, so don't worry about that. It is going to pull everything together, and it's going to cinch it up, but everything will work out. So go ahead and put on another 15-0, another 4mm crystal, and a 15-0. And you're coming out of this embellishment color bead right here. I'm going to be going up through the one on the opposite side, going down the bracelet. So do that and pull. And again, like I said, it's just tightening everything up, so it is going to cinch it together. You do want it to do that. Add another 15-0 crystal and a 15-0. Go up through the embellishment color seed bead on the opposite side of the next center diamond and pull. So this is the idea. You're going ahead and popping in one of these crystals in the center section in between each of those little diamond shapes. We're going to continue on all the way down the entire length of the bracelet, and at about the time that we get to that point, we'll meet back and continue with the crystal process. Alright, so that's the center row completed with the crystals, and I'm just coming out of this end right here and this embellishment seed bead. I'm going to go through these two main colors. I'm basically swinging my needle around. I'm just following the thread path, going back through the wire guardian again and back in the other direction and going through these two main color and the embellishment color seed bead over here. And that will start us in the position to continue on with our crystals down the top section. So we're going to have 3 rows of crystals. So I have my thread in position coming out of this embellishment seed bead, and again we're just going to pop a crystal in between each of these open sections. So go ahead and put on a 15-0, a crystal, and another 15-0, and just go straight on down through the next embellishment color seed bead that you get to. Pull it nice and tight, and that's just going to pop another crystal into place, and you keep doing this all the way down. And then we're going to swing around and do the other side, and that is basically it. So I just put on another 15-0, a crystal, and a 15-0. Again, just going through the next embellishment seed bead in the line. And it's already started to shrink up a little bit together, this bracelet, and that is what you want. I'm just going to continue on, and it's just going to continue to shrink up as you go and cinch together. Here we go. So just keep going all the way down your bracelet. Alright, so here is the bracelet pretty much finished. I just need to go ahead and weave back in my thread and knot off a couple times, so I'm just going to do that right now. And then we'll add our jump ring and our clasp, but I really like how this has all come together. Hopefully you do too. So I'm just making a little half-hitch knot in between some beads. Then I'm going to follow the thread path and go through a couple more beads and make another knot. And just like you did before with the other end of your thread, you can do this as many times as you feel comfortable with. I definitely suggest doing it at least about 3 times. That way you're pretty comfortable that your thread will be secure and not come apart on you. So I'm just going to make another little knot right there. It might actually be easier to flip your bracelet over and do this from the netting side. That way you're not fighting with the crystals on the other side. So that's what I'm going to do. Make another little knot right there. Just like that. I'm going to go down this way and make another one. And then down through a couple more, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so that's what the back looks like if you're curious. I'm going to go ahead and carefully snip that off. Okay, and now we can add our jump ring and lobster clasp, and if these little embellishments on the side flip around on you, it's not a big deal, just pop them right back out. Alright, so I'm going to open up my jump ring like this, and just go ahead and pop that on one side. There we go, and I'm going to allow the lobster clasp just to catch on that end of the wire guardian. If you want to, you can pinch these closer. It's up to you. Well, here is my finished bracelet, all done. The clasp is on and everything is connected, and I love how it feels. It feels actually pretty light on the wrist, and it's definitely very sparkly and fancy looking without needing a lot of materials. They're pretty basic, the seed beads, the crystal bicones, and voila, you have a beautiful bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Feel free to leave me any kind of comments or questions down below that you would like to. Hopefully it was easy for you to follow, and hopefully yours turned out just as nice. I look forward to being back with more bead subscription unboxings, more tutorials, and more finished jewelry updates soon. I want to thank you guys for being with me so much. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And as always, happy beading! If you enjoyed this video, I'd love for you to give it a big thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of my latest videos. Check out the information section under the video for links to my social media handles and other helpful info, and feel free to check out my shop at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching!